really feel like I've been in the wars last night and this morning. I woke up with like a really bad backache and stomachache, and now I've woken up again, the second time I wake up, with a dead arm. It's like, it feels like I've been thumped really fucking hard, you know? So yesterday I finally pushed a load of changes out to my website. One, to cover feedback that I've received recently about when I first kind of put the site live. Got a load of feedback about what it was that was missing, what needed changing, how certain things came across. So I did some minor updates to all of that kind of stuff, added a load of more information, specifically frequently asked questions and pricing information for the code reviews as a service. I also added a blogging feature. So I'm going to be using that blog as kind of like a technical blog, predominantly, announcing things that Varialis is releasing, whether or not they're paid services or free stuff. I'm intending to try and use it as kind of like a way to share knowledge and things that we've come across, whether or not that adds to, it's not always going to be a sales pitch, is what I'm saying. But the first two are effectively. The first one, which you can read down below, is all about like what Varialis is and why I created it, along with RadSpider as well. And the next one is going to be about code reviews and or why it is that I think they're so, like, what was the defining moment that made me go like, this is the thing, you know, this is good. People should do this more. And what inspired me to get good at it. It'd be really good if you could check all that stuff out. Let me know what you think. You know, I'm always open on Twitter, LinkedIn, you named it. I've published it, but I haven't like publicized it yet. So I'm gonna flurry that out on Twitter tonight. And or maybe in the daytime, who knows? Depends if I've got time. I've got a shitload of meetings today. So looking forward to that. Otherwise, this morning I've done all this and I've pushed all this live. I'm now at the point where I'm starting to try and get back in touch with the industry, get more feedback, do a little bit more learning to figure out what it is I'm offering and whether or not other people would be interested in it, and how it could change if they weren't interested in it. And that means crafting like emails to introduce myself and stuff to different companies, which is something I'm not very good at. I am like totally aware where all my talents lie and where they don't lie. And part of this like part of this like adventure is interesting to me, because I have the opportunity to try all of this stuff that I've never done before, and like that's daunting but exciting at the same time. But like last night I did about 2.5 hours of trying to write these emails, and I got 2.5 emails out of it, because I'm spending so much time carefully selecting who it is I'm going to email, then researching the company, researching the people I'm going to email, crafting it, getting it ready, and then saving it in a place where I'm like, right, let's wait for next week when my next blog releases, because that's much more pointed to what it is I'm approaching them about. And then we can release them next week. We'll just send out like a flurry of emails next week. Here's my plan. 2.5 hours I spent, got 2.5 emails out of it. Does not feel productive at all, compared to just sitting down and just churning out some code. So, but it's fun, so that's good. Also, woke up this morning fucking tired. Whew. I think the wall's coming. But yeah, so for the last hour of my, hour and a bit, I started to wind down, watch some videos and played some Apex Legends, which is probably the first Xbox game in a bloody long time that I'm like really enjoying, especially a multiplayer game. So I'm really enjoying it. What can I say? One thing that I don't think I'll ever get right is figuring out the correct number of chips to do for 2 people. Is that too many? It was the end of the bag, so I got to a certain point and was like, well, I may as well just put the rest on. It'd be a bit of an anticlimax, boys, but I got it right. So, sorted. Oh, I've had a relatively chilled out evening. I've been playing games with Sean and John again. God damn it. I've had a day of proper deep naps. So I've either last night was the wall and I didn't realise it, or tonight's the wall. And I've just got to soldier on through it. So it might be an evening of games, to be honest. But we will try our best to power on through. Just had a day of wall-to-wall meetings today. It wasn't the greatest fun in the world, but solved a bug on something that, well, I say solved a bug, figured out how to work around a bug. Oh, my hell is like fixing that bug. It's like a configuration thing where it just suddenly picks up 2 messages. It picks up its own message on the bus and then processes it twice within like a fraction of a second of each other. It's a pain in the ass, but I fixed it. And otherwise, yeah, like I say, I was in and out of meetings so much I barely even got down to sit down and type, apart from to find that problem and fix it. So, well, the tester pointed it out to me. But yeah, so I've been getting to know like some people outside of my team on like one-to-one basis, being like, oh, so what does your team do? Those kind of meetings. That's the kind of day I've had today. People are nice, but boring, man. Right about the wall being last night, I woke up at about 10 to 4 in the morning, having no recollection of any alarms going off or anything. So I stayed in bed because I never know really what to do at that point, because the idea of the sleeping thing is that you go to sleep at certain times to train your body to get all the sleep it needs at that time. So waking up and just staying awake effectively could do more harm. I never know what to fucking do. Also, I'm like, oh, what's the fucking point? So I just stayed in bed. Otherwise, so I'm a bit annoyed at myself, because also yesterday, obviously, I was playing Xbox, so I didn't actually do anything in the evening. So I'm kind of annoyed that I've basically taken a day off. I only spent about half an hour publishing that blog to my socials. I fucking love how Laura calls it, socials. There's a couple of things I want to add to the site. I want to add a health check. At the moment I've got like a polling health check. The way that my app is loaded on Azure is it's a web app that will get deloaded if no one accesses it. So if no one accesses it for like 30 minutes or something, Azure will basically deload it from its servers because it's on shared infrastructure. And then when you next hit it, it takes like a solid 20 seconds to spin up. It takes forever. So I have at the moment, I have a health check that, not a health check, sorry. Yeah, I have a health check that basically just hits the homepage every like 5 or 10 minutes, just to keep it alive, basically, keep it loaded. What I want to do is make sure that also includes checking the database, because obviously previously I didn't have a database, so it didn't matter. But yeah, so I want to do that. I've made a note of like a schedule of blogs. I want to effectively blog on that site at least once a month. I have a schedule of like obviously the next one I've already written, I just need to edit it. And I've got a schedule of like 3 or 4 other ones that I want to write, along with the first thing that I'm going to release, which is this really cool validation mapping framework, which I sorted out, and I've got like a good blog post I can talk about it and about how I made it, so I'm looking forward to that. I also want to look into dual posting, so I kind of want to cross post, whatever it's called, to Medium as well. Need to figure out the logistics of that, A, if it's possible, if I can do what I want to do with it, but B, whether or not I'm posting to Medium as Varialis or as myself, I'm not sure. So I need to sort all that shit out, but I want to have a look at that. Yeah, there's like a number of things that I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I want to do this while I was in the shower, which I couldn't do any of them because I was asleep, god damn it. So I'm still doing marketing shit as well. They would say, don't they, that if you want to get good ideas, do something really boring and then you'll get a good idea to distract yourself. I'm trying to figure out what the next logical step is for me on RadSpider, because I've got the integration with cloud repos. Need to go that extra mile and get the figure out what's next. There's a big pipeline of things. I'm like, what's the next most important? I think it's picking a repository, branches and stuff. I don't know. So we've got to figure that shit out. I'm running a tad late today because I was just having a conversation about architecture, and message bus is my favourite conversation. So much so that my voice is worn out. It's one of them conversations where we started it in the morning. He came to me in the morning and was like, said something, and I'm like, well, it should be like this. And then we started talking about something. I'm like, well, I think we're saying the same thing, but you don't think I am, and I don't think you are. We have to be saying the same thing, but neither of us know that. Let's get a whiteboard. And then a couple of hours later we got a whiteboard session out, and I'm like, right, so walk with me. Drew it out. You cannot conceptualize microservices and message buses without drawing it. Like, it's just not possible. There's so many threads and so many things. And the problem is there are a lot of words that all mean like, there's a lot of individual words that mean multiple things at once, and you could have a conversation with someone and they're using a word and I'm like, we seem to be talking about different things but using the same word here. No, that was good, that was productive. We got there in the end. We figured out what was going on. And also when you're talking about, like, when you can't draw it out and reason with it like that, you're kind of forced to stay so abstract that you can kind of say, well, I'm aiming for this. You'd be like, I know you're aiming for this, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we were effectively having a conversation at an abstract level and an implementation level at the same time. And I'm like, let's get into the implementation level. Let's get in the weeds, boys. Because the devil's in the detail. But no, it was really good. I love whiteboard sessions. It's my favourite way to teach things. Well, not teach things, but like discuss things. Because like I say, you can just reason with it, it's just pictures, you know? I said that because of this, I'm now running late. I'm normally home by now. That's how late I am. But shouldn't be too bad. We're going to the cinema tonight. So of all days to be late, today is not one because we need to leave the house at 7. But I'll be fine. And I had a bit of a nap at lunch, so I should be alright not having a nap tonight. This as in now, which I should be going to sleep just now. But as I was running late yesterday, we were a little bit rushed. But we went to go see Green Book at the cinema. And if you just do yourself a favour and go and watch it, I think that has to be, I'm trying to think of another film that I watched and was as impressed by. I genuinely think that's probably the best film I've ever seen. It was really good. It was just really well done. It didn't like just smash you over the head like some films like that do. It wasn't trying too hard. I think that's what made it seem so good. Like, it wasn't trying too hard to be funny, it just was. It wasn't trying too hard to be like all political, I guess. But it was just really good. Genuinely, go watch. 100% recommend. Doing yourself a disservice. Just go and watch it, it's worth it. Otherwise, again, I didn't wake up last night, which isn't good at all. It means I've basically officially dropped out of my sleeping pattern. That's 2 days in a row that I haven't woken up now. So I need to get back in it again, get back to work. Laura's got work to do tonight as well, so I'll be doing some work then. But I've been like genuinely surprised about the amount of effectively like good feedback I've gotten from just my initial blog post launch. Like, a few people have messaged me being like, it's really good, I think you're onto something, and stuff like that. It's like, it's incredible. Or they always knew I'd do great things and things like that, and I'm like, people I've not spoken to in years, you know. So it's pretty cool. Also though, and this is something that Laura brought up, when the first revision of that blog post, I went a little bit more detail into who I was rather than what it was I was doing. And my initial like aim was to kind of, I've had advice basically from people that like one of the key selling points of this thing is me, and I should make it about me to a certain extent, to be like, make it personal. I believe in like openness and communication and all that kind of stuff. And the best way of doing that is effectively like being the face of it and not being afraid of being the face of it. So I made it a bit more about me. And in part of it, I mentioned, this is a long roundabout story, way of saying this, I said like, I've always been lucky enough to gain experiences in the roles that I've had over my career. So like, in my first ever career, that company went through some significant troubles while I was there, and I gained a load of experience because of that. Likewise my previous place, and right now I'm like taking control over things which are way above what I should be doing in my role, because there's an opportunity there. But then Laura was like, this is really reductive, you shouldn't look at it like you're lucky to do that. Like, you did that, I hunted that job out, I hunted those roles. I could have sat back like everyone else did and just take it, you know, but I didn't. I saw an opportunity and I ran for it and I got it. And I won it myself. And I'm like, God damn, you're right. And that's kind of like the feedback I'm getting from this thing. That's how it's making me feel. It's like, it's not all luck. And you can trick yourself into making it think like it is luck. And I've always done that. Even back when I worked in like a supermarket, I'm like, like, you can't really be good at this job. You just walk fast and people think you're good. Like, and like now I think I've been quoted as saying like, it doesn't matter how good you are as long as people think you're good. Like, no, but you are good. Don't ever reduce your own, well, within reason, reduce your own achievements by just boiling them down to luck. Because at the end of the day, you've got to be really fucking lucky for it to just happen, you know, without any input from you. I think I was watching Hat Films, and one of them said it on a stream. They're like, oh well, we just have a job where we can just stream Apex Legends, which is what I was watching. A bit obsessed. And then one of them was like, yeah, but well, just reduce the 8 years of hard work that got us here though. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Don't ever reduce your own achievements, guys. Be afraid to own the hard work you've put in to get to where you are, because at the end of the day, everyone else had the same opportunity to do that at some point. And especially if they're older than you, which is something that people always remind me. They're like, hey Jamie, you're only 25 and you're like taking on 35-year-olds with 10 more years experience. I'm like, well, you know, while my head is risking not being able to get in the door nowadays to go sideways to get my big old head through. What I should have done was, knowing that I wasn't going to be napping at lunchtime, I should have brought my skateboard and I could have gone skateboarding for half an hour instead. But instead I'm just going for a walk. I think I don't skateboard in the morning because I'm already adding time to my commute. You know what I mean? I don't need to be quick, so there's no time advantage particularly. I just like the walk, I like the time to think effectively, so going any quicker just doesn't help me. But when I'm not napping at lunchtime, it's great skateboarding weather. And this path is quite nice and well, apart from the fact that it's very easy to go in the fucking river, nice and smooth. Easily the worst thing about my sleeping cycle is the lunchtime nap, because it means when you're at work you can't go outside at work for lunch. Well, unless you have a full hour lunch, which is the workaround, I guess. But also at the weekend it's always the nap that's the hardest to fit in, because it's around 12 o'clock and that's when you're like going out or already out doing stuff, you know. To be fair, my weak criticisms is only because I have a half-hour lunch and not an hour lunch, which I could take an hour lunch if I wanted to. I just don't. So it's my fault, really. You know what it is as well? If I could pick like the weather for the entire year, it would be this. Because it's like just, in fact maybe a tad colder, because it's like just ever so slightly on the cusp of being too warm for a coat. So you're like, do I wear a coat, do I not wear a coat? If it was a bit colder, it'd just be, you wear a coat, that's fine. But it's like, it's nice and crisp, the air's cool, it's nice and sunny and dry, it's lovely. This is like perfect longboard weather, perfect skateboarding weather, it's great. I finally got around to having a look at the metrics for the amount of people who went on my site and whatnot. Application Insight gives you like this user flow, so you can see where the users are going and where most users go, so you can see them, like most of them are coming in at the link I gave them, and then they go to the home page and then they like kind of click through all the stuff and you kind of see it flowing through, which is interesting. Having looked at application insights, there's a loads of hits to a page. There's a 404, it's like home/index or something, and I believe that is probably like a Google, like a crawler effectively, but it's obviously just throwing 400s at them all the time. So I've routed that, so if you try to hit that, it actually goes to the home page now, which is a pain in the ass. But otherwise I'm just trying to figure out, I'm trying to get health check endpoints sorted. And I've got it working for, obviously, the site itself and blob storage, where the blog post is, but I can't get it working for Mongo. And it like literally just won't connect to Mongo. It's really frustrating. But it seems to be like it's connecting. It seems to be a bug in their code, to be honest with you. Not anything else. In like this, a third-party health check thing, NuGet package thing, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to have to write my own. So it's failing on adding something to a dictionary, which you shouldn't do. So I was doing that for a bit, and also played a little bit of old Xbox with old Shawnee Boy. So that was good. Bedtime. bedtime. We're waking up soon. Aiming to finish off finish off that health check thing, get that deployed, get them errors gone, and then I want to look at sending emails, drafting emails and whatnot. That's my plan. I figured out what my issue was about going to that web URL that was always throwing errors and whatnot. It was actually RadSpider, not Varialis, that was causing the issue. And the reason is radspider.net, if you go to it, it's just a holding page. That is actually the public portal to RadSpider. Like, there is a Boolean flag in the config, effectively, that activates the holding page. And I had some custom middleware that would redirect every single request. Well, sorry, it wouldn't redirect, it would rewrite every request to the homepage again. That was causing issues because on some requests, which were being made by health checky kind of things, not users, effectively, and they would happen something like 60 times, basically once a minute, they would happen. They were causing an exception because of the way that the request was being handled. So I fixed that now. Now it's not doing that forced rewrite, it's just doing a redirect. But yeah, technically, when I'm locally, I just flick that switch to false, and then I create an account and log in. You know, obviously the secure part, the logged in portal, isn't there, and nothing else is there on the web. So even if you did manage to get to the create account page, it'll put a message. Would it put a message on the message? But no, I haven't got a message bus in prod yet, so it won't even do that. Well, it might put. Actually, it'll be configured for dev. So no, yeah, it would put a message on the bus to create an account, but that wouldn't get picked up by anything except my computer. So don't do that, because it would mean I'd be able to see your password. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, I woke up last night. Happy days. I almost drifted back off to sleep, but forced myself out of bed. Did that, I polished off some more emails, and did something else as well. I mapped out the next couple of things I want to do. So I wanted to create an RSS feed, and something else, which I've forgotten. I logged it in Asana, which I use for task management and whatnot. So it's been a productive night. Been productive. Now we're going to work. So it's going to be a productive day at work today as well, I think. We've only got one meeting today, and it's the Friday developer meeting where someone does a talk about something that they're interested in. So basically means you just finish an hour earlier than normal, you know what I mean? Really sure why, but today feels like possibly the longest day I've ever lived. I don't know why. Really interesting talk today from someone who he brought in like 3D printers, and like he builds 3D printers and prints stuff with them, and basically builds bigger and bigger 3D printers because he gets obsessed. And I remember someone I used to work with when on placement year, Lewis 2. Yeah, there's Louis 3, I was Louis 1, and then there's Louis 2. Louis 2 was, he got into 3D printing, built his own 3D printer. I think he has a small 3D printing company in Cyprus. I think he like sells stuff for 3D printers. So yeah, it's good, really interesting. To be honest, I was kind of like, why am I going to go and watch this? I'm not interested in 3D printing. But then I had a really unproductive day, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I am interested, and then it was really good. So I like those sessions. They're good fun. Hoping that I'm able to leverage them in some way, because they're effectively like mini ones that I go to outside of work. Like there's one coming up next week that's being hosted by Lloyd's. The normal one I go to is hosted by Just Eat, and I want to talk at them. I want to do that, and that'll be a good place to like test it out, try it out, you know. Take out a bit of the salesy, pitchy bits, but you know, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to pitch my hat into the ring. I'm just seeing what other people talk about and how they talk about it before I pick a topic, you know. Wait, so we've had dinner, had a nap, had dinner, cleaned the bathroom, washed up. Laura's now upstairs doing some work. I am going to play Xbox for a bit because I feel like I'm not in the mood to work, having had such an unproductive day. I'm going to just chill out. I'm playing on my own, I've got no mates to play with. But I'm going to just chill out, and then I'm going to be energised for tonight. That's my plan there. I am somewhat upset of how much I enjoy that game. It's really good. And I'm getting good at it as well. When I first started playing it, I was trash. But I can actually get kills now. I don't just die immediately all the time, at least. Every now and again I just get like absolutely trashed. But anyway, it's bedtime, ladies and gentlemen. There's no point in the ending the video here. Laura's family is coming this weekend, so I'm assuming the next 2 days of vlog are going to be pretty short. So, oh god, ready to go. And I need to do some drafting and some editing of some stuff. It's going to be my, because Laura's sister is staying, I'm not going to be able to work overnight in my office. So I'm going to have to do everything so that I'm laptop ready Saturday morning. I mean Sunday morning. What time is it? Well, at what point does it go to the next day for me nowadays? I don't really know. I'm waking up in the morning and I'm so bloody tired. It's unreal, man. Soldiering on though. Today, did some stuff this morning. I did another quick deployment to live today. Made something a little bit more configurable so I could change it. I changed my mind on something and then flicked about with it a little bit. So that's now in config, so I can change that whenever I want. And then otherwise, hanging around here because Laura's family came. Laura's sister's here. We're now, look, Laura's getting some steps right now. And then we're going out for a meal. I'm looking for my scarf, which is there. So, yeah, it's just a standard old day. Do I need a scarf? No. Play a little bit of Xbox with the boys though, which is good fun. Yeah, now we're just getting ready to go really. Killing time, innit, fam? My first nose beaters, I got my nose cauterised. No. Went to town with Beth and Ben. Beth and Ben. I saw Beth, but not Beth and Ben, Laura's family. We're all getting lunch, and I'm like, I don't really fancy any of this stuff here, and it's all really big queues. I'm going to go over here instead. Otherwise, it's so hot today. It's like, look at me. I'm carrying my coat and hoodie. I'm en route to Pret, is my default, but I'm going to also swing past the fucking street food market just up here. So we'll see if they've got anything, but if not, they were at the street food place where we normally get like Greek food, which is really good, the Athenian, Cargo it's called. So I am going to see if there's some street food I fancy down here. If not, I'm going to go to Pret. So I just kind of fancy a sandwich, to be honest, and a nice drink. And that's why I'm going Pret. It's somewhat nice just to like walk away. It's like really freaking busy down there, and I'm getting really hot, and I get really like apple pasty when I'm hot, you know. Shot myself in the foot a little bit there. Pret, it's closed. I went to the street market thing. I stood in the queue for some like stir fry stuff, and everything's hot, and I don't want anything hot. And I think that's my problem. I just want like a nice salad, like a nice cold sandwich, and a nice cold drink. I've fixated on the drink now. That's the problem. Look at these doggos, and I got a Costa fruit cola. God, slumming it, man. By fruit cola, I mean not a fruit cola. It's like ice cream. It's bedtime, ladies and gentlemen. They had lovely fish and chips because they decided what they wanted early, got in the order, and then still had to wait like half an hour for fish and chips to be made for them. And I just had a cold drink. I wasn't particularly hungry though. Came back here. They hung around for a little bit, and then we went for like a walk and made some jack potatoes. I haven't had jack potatoes in so long, but it was really nice. And yeah, otherwise we've just been chilling like villains, playing Switch, watching Netflix, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to end this video here. I need to sort out videos. I think I've got this video and the previous video on the camera still, which isn't good. I mean, I've got no idea how long this video is, for one. Could be 10 minutes long, could be 2 hours long. Wouldn't know. So I'm going to sort that out. I'm going to wake up in the morning, obviously. That's going to be my #1 priority. This week is going to be an interesting week. I'm going to try and release a new blog post. And start reaching out for new feedback. That's my plan. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you later.